Hello, hello, and welcome to the first Scramblecast of 2024. I almost said 2023. I hate it when that happens. So anyway, just going to jump right in with some Axis and Allies news because they had their action briefing for the year last week. And they got some new stuff along the way. So some of it, I kind of hinted at it I forget if it was the first or second part of our 2023 in review podcast, but more or less, they announced that, back in, December, it's like, hey, we're going to have 6 releases for the coming year in 2024. And me being me thought that, oh, it's going to be 6 new games. That's awesome. And it turns out it's not going to be 6 new games. It's some other stuff, too. So we'll just kind of go down the list. First couple of accessories, they have these things called hit dice, which are a set of dice that are marked on certain values that'll show you what will be a hit. Because when you're playing the game, you'll have, when you're in combat, a unit will hit on a 4 or lower or a 3 or lower or whatever. So that's what the dice do. You can just look to see if oh, you got a hit. And I think they're color coded too. I don't think it's necessary, but those are there, and they're kind of expensive, but you do get a shit ton of them. And apparently you get a little bag with them. They haven't shown the bag yet, but we'll see it eventually, I guess. Also, a set of IPC chips, which are more or less just poker chips with 1s, 5s, and 10s printed on them. You can use them to keep track of your money in the game. IPCs, as they're called.
That would actually be really useful.
Yeah.
So the base game just comes with little cardboard ones, right?
It doesn't come with anything.
Oh, shoot. Yeah, that's right.
The older games used to come with paper Monopoly money, and the latest ones don't, and that's actually a very big complaint people have. So it's kind of neat that they are offering something. Again, I would say that this is a little bit unnecessary because you can just use regular poker chips if you have them, which is what I do. So, but it is cool that there's a branded product. I think they've done something like that before, but it is nice to see. How else do I want to go about this? Might as well just go into games. So,
okay.
Yeah, and I guess one prediction I had ended up being right, that they are doing a reprint of the anniversary edition of the game.
Oh, cool.
If I had to say one thing about it, is if you only got one Axis and Allies game, this would be the one to get. It's more or less it's kind of like a scaled down version of the global 1940 game.
Okay.
So it's a step up from 1942, which is the standard version. And then, but not as complex as putting Europe and Pacific 40 together. You can, Italy's a playable nation. There is little minis for China and stuff, special rules for them. I think you do get paper money for that. I don't know if the reprint will have it though.
Okay.
And everything comes in nice little boxes that are organized. It's a miracle. So yeah, that's actually cool. It does come in a very awkwardly sized box. So it's the most stupendously big box I've ever seen a board game come in, and it's crazy.
Is it like your typical board game shaped box, or is it like a cube?
No, it's
or is it long? Is it a really? I'm imagining those boxes that posters
it's long
come
and
in.
Deep.
Yeah,
so
long
it's
and deep. Okay.
It's about the depth that you would hope for, a standard depth. I don't think it's any deeper than any of the other games, but it's it's longer and deeper. Because I think it's the boards are you get 3 separate pieces for the main board, so that's probably why it's kind of sized around that, and then also to fit all the little boxes for all the units. I don't know, they probably could have gone back to the drawing board with that one, but it is a very, very nice version of the game. And to go along with that, another thing they're doing is they're making a deluxe neoprene mat for it.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah. So, and I guess they're also doing a second print run of the Global 40 map as well. So both of those are up for pre-order. And they're actually pretty nice looking, or at least the Global 41 was. I did pick that up. So I assume this one will be kind of the same, hopefully the same quality. And maybe even a pro tip if you want one. If you're planning on getting the global games, the two 1940 games, but the thought of buying the, like I said, the stupidly sized box of anniversary edition, like, it's kind of like putting you off. You might not have space for it, or like you don't want to spend the money on it. Just get the mat.
Yeah.
Just get the mat for the for anniversary edition, because you'll have all the pieces you'll need from the two 1940 games, and then Renegade will hopefully put the manual online, so you don't really need to buy the game in the box. But that's only if you want to get those two games as well. It'll still be a bit of an investment, or just like have that be the only one you get, and then you'll have to buy a new house because you won't be able to fit inside said house because the box is so big.
I think I saw online there's a nuclear fallout shelter that's only like $16,000. I know that saying only $16,000 is kind of stupid, but when you compare that to like a house, it's a pretty good deal. Do you think it would be worth it if we split that and then just put all of our board games in there?
Yeah. Does it at least have indoor plumbing?
I don't think so, but it is pretty big. I forget what sizes it is. It's like, if it had a garage door, you could fit a few cars inside. But it's just a regular human door.
Oh. Yeah. That is something to consider. And here's another one. This is kind of one of the more interesting things that they announced. I think it was the first one they just dropped right away. They're doing a G.I. Joe Axis and Allies game.
What the heck?
Yeah. It's like called... Let me look this up real quick. It's like Arctic Circle something... Dang, page will load. Yeah, G.I. Joe Battle for the Arctic Circle, powered by Axis and Allies. Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yep. Not pre-ordering that now. So yeah, it's... I guess going to use the same... like combat system maybe, and maybe even like, how you gain. Actually, no, I don't even think you'd be able to do that. So yeah, it's like the big thing about it is that it uses a hex grid, which most Axis and Allies games are like what they call area control. So like Risk, how that like territories are divided up, or continents are divided up into territories, and then in the case of Axis and Allies, you got sea zones. This one just a hex grid, and I guess the idea is like the Joes are fighting Cobra, and Cobra is a secret Arctic base that the Joes have to find or something. You have like heroes you can use and stuff.
And it is all based off like the 80s G.I. Joe stuff. Like, it's got Cobra Commander and stuff. I don't know how much lore from like the 60s and 70s G.I. Joe stuff is stuck through. I'm not that into G.I. Joe.
I really have no idea, but it's for 2 to 4 players. That's nice. 14 plus. Huh. That's weird. So yeah, that's kind of interesting. But I'm not really excited for this one because I'm not like really a fan of G.I. Joe. Maybe I might flip through the rule book because I am curious how it's going to work. But the thing about Renegade Games, they have a lot of other like Hasbro properties under their belt. I'm thinking they might do something along the lines of maybe a Transformers Axis and Allies game in the future.
Yeah, I could see them doing that.
Yeah. I'm not entirely sure how that would work, but...
Yeah, I don't know if it would translate over as well as G.I. Joe, but...
Yeah.
I know Hasbro has the Star Wars... I guess everyone has the Star Wars license. Do you think it'd be likely to see a Star Wars Axis and Allies in the future?
I didn't even consider that, and that actually would be kind of cool.
Yeah, it would sell like hotcakes.
Yeah, I think they started with G.I. Joe because they had done a card game for them, or maybe a role-playing game too. So that was easy to jump into. And like, yeah, it's kind of adjacent to, like, I don't know, combat and conflict and stuff. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see what comes, like, down the line as far as like powered by series, but I don't know. And then the last announcement was more or less a first look at Axis and Allies North Africa, which will be coming this August, I think is what they said. And I gotta say, I'm actually kind of looking forward to it now. Like, at first I wasn't excited because Eastern Front didn't win, but this is actually looking to be something that I might actually want to play.
Oh, that does look pretty cool, actually.
Yep. So the neat thing about it, they are doing the area control type deal. Like, it looks like a standard Axis and Allies map, but obviously zoomed into North Africa. Goes all the way down, like from like the southern border is like the Sahara Desert, and I think the northern part goes all the way up to Italy. And I think it goes from Cairo to Casablanca, as far as east and west. So, yeah, it's a decent sized map. I'm actually surprised they included Italy there, but even though Italy is a playable nation, it looks like, because the game will support 2 to 4 players, which is also really cool. I'm glad it's not just going to be a 1v1. But yeah. So yeah, they got some new units for it, looking pretty cool. They got a truck, a little armored car, a desert jeep, Panzer IV tank, a 6-pounder anti-tank gun, and then a Samoa S-35 tank for the French. We're only going to be on the map for like 1 turn, probably. But at least they get nice new stuff. So, yeah. Yep, they didn't really reveal much about it other than the fact that, like, supplies are going to be a thing. Like, I guess to attack and maybe even move. Mines, like, both on the land and on the sea. Convoys are going to be how you get new, like, units instead of the usual, like, production facility thing. And here's something kind of weird. You're also only going to use D10s for combat instead of the regular D6.
That is interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know how that's going to work or like what that's going to do. Maybe it means that there'll be some more variability with the different units, especially since there's now apparently anti-tank, like artillery and special armored cars and stuff like that. Yeah. I kind of hope that they post the rule book at some point before it drops in August, or that's when it's going, right? Yeah, I don't even say. What the hell? But I don't know. I'm looking forward to it. All these games and accessories are up for pre-order. I don't think any of them are coming out until June at the earliest. So there will be time to wait. Unfortunately, I'm not in any hurry to pre-order them now, but yeah. It is nice to see that Renegade Games is taking this like somewhat seriously, especially since they are doing the reprint for Anniversary Edition. They've kept 1914 in stock. And Guadalcanal, the pre-order for I think that's gonna deliver in April. So pretty much every game that was expensive on eBay is now more easy to obtain, which is nice. And I don't know, I kind of wish they had come to the market a little bit sooner or I wouldn't have spent as much on some of the games that I bought. But it is what it is. As long as other people can play them and get them for cheap too. All right.
Before we move on, this is something kind of stupid and childish to say about this, but the map kind of looks like a big beach party. Like, the water is like a really light blue, which I didn't expect.
Oh, you're talking about North Africa?
Yeah. Like, it looks like a giant beach.
It is the Mediterranean, but I don't know if the water looks like that. I haven't looked at it on a satellite map in a while. Yeah, it's like very, very light near the shore. Huh.
I just think it's kind of funny.
Yeah, that is kind of funny. Yeah, it's like That looks more like the Pacific. It's like what you would think of the Pacific, maybe not the Mediterranean.
Yeah.
Oh, well. Anyway, let's get into our second topic. That is a quick review of Pavlov's House, The Battle of Stalingrad, 2nd edition from DVG. This is a tower defense, tactical and operational level war game set in the Battle of Stalingrad, where you control both like a group of soldiers defending the eponymous house, as well as the operational level stuff that is giving them support. As, you know, Germans kind of show up and try to, like, break into the house, pretty much. Like, well, it's not really a house, it's an apartment building, but anyway. So, nice thing about this game is that it's a solitaire. It's built primarily around solitaire. You can play it cooperatively and competitively, and like a combination of the two. I have not played it multiplayer yet, but I have gotten in like 3 1/3 solo games, and it is brutal. Yeah.
Just like the real Stalingrad.
Oh, yeah. Like, pretty much the Germans are controlled by a deck of cards. And, like, they kind of get broken up into, like, different pieces. Like, there's waves. And then you have, like, what they call a resupply, which if you don't have a certain number of food, like, you know, you have to eliminate so many of your people in the house. But, yeah, so they're kind of broken up into waves. And after a certain number of plays, you can kind of understand how things go for each wave and know what to expect and know what to do to mitigate it. But I don't know. It's a pretty fun game. And like, I really like the operational level stuff too, because you can use that to send supplies, prepare artillery to support, you know, destroy, like, you know, German units that are encroaching, anti-aircraft artillery to take out the planes that are trying to bomb your operational stuff. You know, send recruits and new weapons into the house, and stuff like that. But yeah, it's a fast game too. Like, once you get it rolling, and if you have the box organized efficiently, yeah, it's a pretty fast game to get through. And yeah, it is very hard, but I don't know. Solo games tend to be that way, because if you beat them easily, then kind of what's the point?
Yeah.
Yeah. This game, like, its modes are hard, harder, and then hardest, because really there's no way to make it easier unless you just kind of, I don't know, stack the deck in a certain way. Yeah.
That's cool.
Yep. Be very easy to teach too.
Oh, that's always a good thing.
Yeah. And then finally, I want to do a quick half-assed review of Oppenheimer.
Mr. Robert J. Oppenheimer.
Yep. Or as I like to call it, Nukeman.
And the Robert J stands for Robert Downey Jr.
Exactly. Yeah, Iron Man's in the damn film. Doesn't
Everybody's
even put the suit
movie.
on.
Yeah.
I don't know what that's about.
I heard there was only one explosion in this movie.
Yeah.
That's such a letdown. Like, Fast and Furious had way more explosions.
Yeah.
They should have called that one Oppenheimer.
Yeah. But the biggest disappointment for me, find out this movie's rated R. Now,
that was so weird, because when I found that out too.
Yeah. It's like, I thought it was going to be PG-13, because, you know, Christopher Nolan, I think most of his films are, well, at least the ones in the past, like, decade and a half, or at least since Batman Begins, maybe even before that, have all been PG-13. It's like, it's like, oh, there's nudity in this movie. Yep.
I have a theory about that, but I'll let you continue.
Yep. And, you know, I don't really like go out of my way to look for stuff with nudity in it, but I at least want to be impressed when I see it. And you know what I get?
Okay, I'm glad you say that.
And you know what I get when it finally comes around? Frickin' commie mosquito bites.
Yep.
What the hell is this shit, Rob?
Okay, so I have a theory, and this is a very fringe theory.
Okay.
But for those of you who don't know, Florence Pugh plays as Oppenheimer's commie girlfriend. And Florence Pugh, I feel like she's like really what's the word for it? I want to use, hang on, I'm trying to think of the word. Nervous, very self-conscious. That's the word I was thinking of. Self-conscious of her boobs. So if you notice, she tries to show them off as much as she can. Like, I mean, if you just go onto Google Image and type in Florence Pugh, you will probably see her boobs. Like, it's just how it is. So I almost wonder if it was like in her contract that she's like, I won't do this movie unless I can show everyone my titties. Like, that's literally my theory.
There is a scene that they just throw in randomly where they're both sitting in like a bedroom naked, but they're not doing anything. They're just sitting talking. It's just like, okay.
Yeah.
I watched this movie with my parents. They were the ones that wanted to watch it. It's like I kind of like fell off of the idea after I found out how long it was. Like, you know, back when it was in theaters. Because there's no way in hell I was doing that Barbenheimer shit. Friggin' whipped men and shit, going to watch a girl movie, I don't know, let alone watch another 3-hour movie after it or something, I don't know. But anyway, yeah, I wasn't doing that. But yeah, I decided to watch them. I was also buzzed on cheap absinthe at the time. So I think a lot of it went over my head, but I don't know. It was a 3-hour movie. That's the most I can say about it.
Yeah. So, I have not seen Oppenheimer yet.
Yeah.
I was planning on watching it 2 months ago, and then I never did. Do you think I should?
I don't know.
Okay.
Probably not. I know a lot of people are calling it like one of the best movies of the century, but I didn't really get that. Yeah. It's a long movie, and there are long movies that use their runtime like efficiently and effectively. I don't know if this one did. And then there are other like kind of adjacent movies to this that I think are better and good at, like, I would say maybe The Imitation Game, if you've seen that with Benedict Cumberbatch. It's almost the same idea.
Yeah.
Kind of. Except, I don't know, instead of a wishy-washy communist, you have a gay guy.
Yeah, I have not seen The Imitation Game, but I've seen the beginning of it many times.
Yeah. Yeah. But, like, I enjoyed that one more, I think. Like, like that one, I was initially skeptical of it, but I don't know. That's also a way shorter film.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have commie mosquito bites in it.
What do you think about Oppenheimer getting all the Oscars this year? I mean, the Oscars haven't happened, but I think it got the most nominations.
I don't know.
Yeah.
It's like I'd have to see what it got nominated for, so there might be some things I would agree with. I don't know if I would say soundtrack.
Who does the soundtrack? Is it Hans?
I don't remember. I just remember that Mondo Records has been doing a vinyl release of it, and they're really selling it hard. And I keep looking at it, and it's like, look, that's a thing. But I forget to look for who did the score. I didn't remember. And they usually put it in bold in the description, so that's just me not remembering good. Yeah, so I don't know if I'd recommend it.
Okay, this was my biggest turnoff with the movie.
Okay.
And this is a stupid thing to be upset about. But I know the big thing with Mr. Oppenheimer is that, he did create the nuke, or at least he helped. And because of that, the world did change. But also, nobody has had a nuke dropped on them since World War II. So it's been a long time since World War II, and we haven't had a nuclear, basically anything since then. Which, that's a good thing. That's
right.
a good thing.
Except Chernobyl, that wasn't a bombing.
Yeah, I mean, no bombing, like Chernobyl and Fukushima and stuff like that. But
oh yeah, I forgot about that one.
To watch a movie about a guy being sad that he created the nuclear apocalypse, and then me in real life knowing that it hasn't happened yet, it just doesn't really connect. Then fingers crossed. I know Russia pulled out of the nuclear accords last year, so fingers crossed it stays that way. I like to think it will, but I'd really hate for this podcast to age poorly. So,
yep, just knock on wood. I don't know, something. Anyway, that's probably a good spot to end it, or something.
All right, what would you give Oppenheimer out of 5?
I would give it... 2 commie mosquito bites out of 5.
All right, there you go. 2 commie mosquito bites out of 5.
Don't even ask.
Mm-hmm.
Bye.
Bye.